I will take High School Musical with my fifth and final pick because it is a sports movie. You do got to get your head in the game. I love High School Musical. I love musicals. Sports and musicals can coexist in this beautiful world. What a beautiful, beautiful movie. Even though High School Musical 1 is not even the best of the High School Musicals.
Tune in to the Jessica Benson Show with CJ Hart live every weekday at 8 a.m. on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app.
Something you'll never do. I turn around and I level you. No motivation is needed. Look, I put myself on the pedestal. This is incredible.
Take your fandom to the next level with the official Grizzlies app. Go all access and behind the scenes.
It's got to be heavy defense. That's where it starts for us.
Personalized to where you are and who you are. Get easy access to ticketing, the game day guide, and your own app customization right at your fingertips. Upgrade your experience and download the Grizzlies app today. Let's talk about MVPs.
Let's do it. I went with the Joker.
Oh my God,
Nikola
freaking Jokic.
Every time I watch him play, I am so impressed.
I'm obsessed with him.
Yep.
Everything he does works. He can pass, he can shoot, he can rebound, he can drive, he can defend. Like, he can do everything.
He can lead the fast break, and he's like 7-1.
IMHO with Lang Whitaker and me, Kelsey Wright Johnson, on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app.
I moved, I have a house now, house maintenance.
That's true.
Oh, Homeowners Association.
Homeowners Association.
That was what your mom wanted to talk to me about. She was so proud that not only are you on the Homeowners Association, that you go to the meetings and know every issue.
We've had speed bump problems.
The Chris Vernon Show, presented by Caesars Sportsbook, live weekdays at noon on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app.
Live from the Built Ford Tough studio at FedEx Forum, it's the Gary Parrish Show, presented by Ortho South, on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app. Now, here's your host, Gary Parrish.
All right, I'm here. My name is Gary Parrish. I'm speaking to you from the Built Ford Tough studio, FedEx Forum, downtown Memphis. Bennett Doyle's right there producing the program. Glad he's with me. Glad you're with me. Hope you're getting through the day best you can. And I hope if you filled out a 2024 NBA playoffs bracket, I don't even know if people do that, but it is a bracket, and people do like filling out brackets, so I don't know why people don't do that if they don't. But I hope if you did fill one out that you didn't have the Phoenix Suns going far, because that didn't happen. 4-game sweep at the hands of Anthony Edwards and Bennett's Minnesota Timberwolves. Surprised you didn't come in here in a Wally Zerbiak jersey or something. KD is gone. Steph also gone. LeBron could be gone tonight. Giannis and Dame seem like they're probably right behind him. Joel Embiid probably too. Wild times in the NBA. We'll talk about it momentarily. First, though, quickly, let me set today's schedule for you. The next segment, about 20 minutes, Michael Eaves going to join me. He, of course, hosts SportsCenter for ESPN. I'll talk NBA playoffs with him. Michael Eaves going to be here in about 20 minutes. When I finish talking to Mike, I'll take a break, come back. We'll do 5 more things you need to know, at which point we'll discuss 5 previously undiscussed stories. Among them, Penny Hardaway has said that he still thinks he can get Arkansas on the University of Memphis men's basketball schedule. As always, we'll see. That would require John Calipari being agreeable with the University of Memphis. Seems unlikely, but I'll be open-minded about it. We'll talk about it in about 40 minutes. Nike EYBL circuit was in Memphis this weekend by all accounts. It went well. Spend a few minutes on that in just a bit. As expected, Taylor Swift has set all sorts of records with the release of the Tortured Poets Department. It's the largest opening streaming week ever. It's her 14th #1 album. I'll give you all the interesting numbers. We'll do that in the third segment. Look at this. Zeke Elliott reportedly on the verge of re-signing with the Dallas Cowboys. Interesting development. I'll get Bennett's NFL expertise thoughts on that a little later on in the show. And Britney Spears, this is sad, Bennett. Britney Spears is reportedly struggling. She's dysfunctional and on the verge of going broke.
Damn.
Wouldn't want to be any of those things, would you?
No.
Ugh. Yeah. You know what? Maybe she needed Remember when people were saying they need to free Britney?
Yeah.
Now people are starting to say maybe that was a mistake.
Maybe freeing her wasn't the right move.
It's starting to look like that might have been a mistake. I understood where their heart was at, but turns out she might have needed, to not be as free as she is right now.
Yeah.
I'll give you the details. It's some wild stuff. We'll talk about it during a segment we call 5 More Things You Need to Know. Then we'll do GP's carryout, and we'll call it a day, a gloomy day. Bennett, this is your kind of day.
I like it. It's nice outside.
Man, when I looked outside, the first thing I said was, man, I bet Bennett loving this.
I did, and I do enjoy it
I can't
quite
wait.
a bit.
You know what? In all seriousness, I can't wait to get home.
Why?
Just to lay down.
Oh, lay down. Yeah, I know.
wanna-
It does make you want to lay down.
It makes me want to lay down.
Yeah.
I like laying down.
I like laying
You
down.
like laying
too.
down?
I like laying down.
I like laying down,
It's
and
a
this-
new development in my life, but I do like laying down.
And this is the best. We agree on this. I think, we don't have to agree on everything. We can work together every day. We don't have to agree on everything. But I think we can agree on this. If you're going to lay down in the middle of the day,
do it when it's raining outside.
this is what you want.
That's it.
This is what you want.
Dark and gloomy.
Dark and gloomy. Dark and gloomy. I like it. Let's start with the NBA playoffs.
Okay.
They're underway. We're now 9 full days. Are you keeping count? We're
Yeah, every day.
9 full days into the 2024 NBA playoffs. Storylines everywhere. Thunder and Nuggets are on the verge of advancing. Pelicans on the verge of being out of this thing. Lakers on the verge of being out of this thing. Right now, the only series that are tied are the Mavs Clippers and the Cavs Magic. Both of those are 2-2 heading into Game 5. Everything else is either done or 3-0 or 3-1 or 2-1. And the one that's done, the only one that's done, you might have watched it last night, Timberwolves, Suns. Series, final score, Minnesota 4, Phoenix 0. That's what we call a sweep.
Yep.
And it'll forever be known as, I think, Anthony Edwards' breakout series. 22-year-old he got last night, 40 points, 9 rebounds, 6 assists. Is a 122-116 victory that completed the sweep in Phoenix. In the series, Anthony Edwards averaged 31 points, 8 rebounds, 6.3 assists, and he dunked hard on the Suns last night. Big Bet Bennett, were you watching live? Tell me the truth.
I was watching.
I was watching live as well, and I didn't. I was too tired to express any sort of excitement because I was already head on pillow. But I was watching live.
Yep.
I was already head on pillow, but I was watching live. Oh, boy, that's a nice one. Let's watch it live. Kyra, show us what Anthony Edwards did last night.
Edwards. Driving by Beal.
Oh, buddy. Oh, buddy, that's the one. That's the one we're going to put into the commercials.
Yep.
Look at him go. We'll watch it one more time.
Driving by Beal.
That was Kevin Durant down there below him in case he didn't. That's the
symbolic.
one. He didn't need that, but Bennett, I like that. Symbolism. What did you see there?
The changing of the guards.
It was a changing
That's what
of the
everyone's
guards.
saying. It's the changing of the guards.
Was that the moment?
It is a moment.
It's
There's
a moment.
no doubt about it.
I don't think there's any doubt this is a moment.
Yeah.
This is a moment perhaps about the youth of the NBA overtaking the old guard of the NBA.
Yep.
Although I'm not certain like we're ready to do that quite yet. Like let's see. But I'm not convinced that LeBron and Kevin and Anthony Davis and some version of all these older players who are getting Steph knocked out of the playoffs early. I'm not convinced they ain't going to try to figure out a way to, let's see if we can keep these young guys
I'm not convinced either.
down 1 more year or 2 more years. But it does feel like there's a moment happening. I will say it made me a little sad last night. I got a little sad last night.
Why?
Well, a lot of different reasons. But on this one particularly, I was watching postgame on, Inside the NBA on TNT, and Charles Barkley and Kenny and Shaq and Ernie, they were all talking, and they had just interviewed Anthony Edwards. And we're sort of talking about, LeBron's on the verge of being gone, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander on the verge of advancing.
I heard this exact moment too.
Did you think of the same thing?
Yeah, when Charles named all of them. Yeah, and he didn't say Ja.
Didn't say Ja, didn't mention the Grizzlies.
No.
It was like, the NBA is in great hands right now between Luka and Shai Gilgeous
yep.
and
Anthony Edwards,
Edwards and the Timberwolves and the Thunder, and it was just like they were just talking about
I was waiting
the
for it.
future of the NBA and how it's in great hands. And we lived through this LeBron and Steph and Giannis and Dame and AD, and what an amazing time. But we are ushering that out now. It's like happening in real time right in front of us.
Yep.
And this next group, oh boy, they're exciting and we're in good hands. And there was a time, you ready for this? 2 years ago, certainly 3 years ago, there is no way Charles Barkley or anybody else sitting in that chair would have been trying to make a similar point without saying the Memphis Grizzlies and or John Morant. And now it just gets skipped completely over. We really have become a bit of an afterthought in the NBA.
Yeah, and I mean, that's just that's going to be the situation no matter what. Like, it's out of sight, out of mind.
Yeah.
And so that's, I can understand it. I didn't necessarily even expect him to say Ja last night when he was listing off all those names, but it still hurts.
It's just noticeable.
Yeah,
that's
for
all.
sure.
And I want to be clear. I don't believe that it's true that the Grizzlies' window is over, because that's obviously stupid.
Right.
I won't be surprised at, like, you just have to, if out of sight, out of mind is a real thing, then you got to get back in sight and in mind.
Yes.
And that will take next season with a healthy roster. So I do think out of sight, out of mind is what's happening here. It's just they've been, kind of a punching bag joke for a variety of reasons for the past year. The season was obviously terrible for a variety of reasons, most of which revolved around injuries. And you just start looking at, you get caught up in the moment. You're like, this Anthony Edwards thing, I never seen anything like it.
Yeah.
And this Shai Gilgeous-Alexander thing, I never seen anything like it. You know what? You did. It was John Morant and the Memphis Grizzlies 2 years ago. 3 years ago.
Right.
You have seen something like this. You just forgot about it. But you have to remind them of what it was. And I suspect we'll get back to doing that next season, hopefully pretty quickly. But I did have that moment last night where I was watching the post game and I was like, well, that was sad.
Yeah.
Like to be, it'd be like if you're one of the late night hosts. I always thought about this because the late night hosts, they always get nominated for different types of awards. And it's always like, nominee number 1, Stephen Colbert. Nominee number 2, Jimmy Kimmel. Nominee number 3, they throw in Conan O'Brien or John Oliver. And it would be all these late night hosts, and they would just always leave Jimmy Fallon out of it. And then these guys would start a podcast, and they would just leave Jimmy Fallon out of it. And they just do things together, and I was always like, man, that must stink to be Jimmy Fallon. Like, he's one of these people too, but they don't even talk about him in the same way anymore.
Right.
That must be hard for Jimmy Fallon. And I had this moment last night where I was like, well, that's not, I get it, but it's just, we used to hear, that was, if you were going to make the point, Charles, this is my point, we'll move on. If you were going to make the point Charles Barkley was making last night on TV, you used to could not make that point without saying Memphis and or John Morant. And now everybody just makes that point without saying Memphis or John Morant. Out of sight, out of mind.
Yep.
We'll get back.
I hope so.
Back to Anthony Edwards. So he's really good now about showing humility. Like, he's very confident on the court, and I think confident in every way. But in his interviews, they're like, hey, are you now a star? And he's like, no, not yet. I'm on my way, but I'm not there yet. And as other people have pointed out, like, it ain't up to Anthony Edwards anymore about whether he's a star. And trying to be humble, like, that's fine, and we can appreciate it. But, like, we get to decide what you are. And he's an undeniable star. Like, he's the box office now, isn't he? Is he the biggest young star in the NBA right now? I mean, clearly right now.
Right now.
Because of what he's doing on this stage.
Yeah.
But, like, the Michael Jordan stuff is starting to,
I saw that
happen.
Yeah.
And it's not just one random person. It's, like, almost everybody now, including Michael Jordan. Last week, Stephen A. Smith said, I talked to Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan, like, loves Anthony. Big flex. Like, everybody else out here talking about, what do you think Michael Jordan thinks about Anthony Edwards? Stephen A. Smith's like, I'll just ask him.
Hey, let me call him up.
Look at this. Look at this. This is last night for Anthony Edwards and last lifetime for Michael Jordan. I mean, come on. What are we doing? That looks the same thing. It looks like the same thing against the same team.
Yeah.
So it's this type of stuff.
Yep.
And Stephen A. Smith said it this morning on Get Up, I gather. Michael Jordan led to Kobe Bryant, and Anthony Edwards is the next reincarnation of that. You buying it?
I mean, dude, he definitely does have that killer instinct. Like, that, it's why people loved Kobe. It's like
second half last night, because he didn't do much in the first half, and then he got going in the second, and it wasn't just the dunk.
Yep.
The dunk gets all the attention. It was everything. It was everything. He pulls up from 27. He's, active on defense. That Minnesota defense, man, they're moving around. They be physically overwhelming, swarming, rotating, connected. That's a good basketball team.
Oh, yeah. They're awesome.
He's now the face of it. And it's not just like he's one of the great young players in the world right now, or maybe he's the next big thing. We have transitioned from that to, is Anthony Edwards the next Michael Jordan? That's where we're at right now. And you know what? Almost every time, in fact, every time anybody's ever tried to do this, it has seemed hyperbolic, or at least proves to have been.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe we'll do the same thing here. This feels real. This feels like a real thing that's happening. He's 22 years old, and he just put 40 points on Phoenix in Phoenix to remove Kevin Durant and Devin Booker from the playoffs. Like, that's a big moment. People say young people can't do stuff like this. That's what they say.
Mm-hmm.
Young players can't do stuff like this on this stage. That's the history of the NBA. Well, here's a 22-year-old, and he is dominating at least the storylines of the NBA playoffs so far. Another big storyline, it happened yesterday in Philadelphia. Knicks go to Philly. They win the game and do it while Knicks fans had invaded Wells Fargo, making it to where if you were watching on television and you close your eyes and you just listen to what it sounded like, and I said, the Knicks just scored. Hear it? Where do you think they're playing that game? You might not have said MSG because it might not have sounded like MSG.
No, MSG's one of one, right.
But it didn't sound like Philadelphia.
It did not.
It didn't sound like you were in a road game. And that's because Knicks fans had traveled the 2 hours to Philadelphia and not taken over the arena, but filled up a significant portion of it. After the game, Joel Embiid, Philadelphia Sixers star, he was asked about it. Here's what he said.
Disappointing. I love our fans. Think it's unfortunate, and I'm not calling them out, but it is disappointing. Obviously you got a lot of Knicks fans, and they're down the road and never seen it. And I've been here for 10 years. Kind of pisses me off, especially because Philly is considered a sports town, so they've always shown up, and I don't think that should happen. It's not okay.
It's not okay.
Ooh.
Joel Embiid said it's not okay for New York Knicks fans to take over Wells Fargo. Should Philadelphia, as a city, as an entity, as a society, be embarrassed, feel ashamed?
It kind of seems like this is just the way that sports has started to trend now. I don't think that, obviously that was wild to see yesterday because you don't see that. But, with NFL now, you get a ton of opposing fans going to, pretty much anywhere, you're going to have a bunch of opposing fans in that stadium. When the Grizzlies, obviously with the Lakers, when they come anywhere, you're going to get a lot of Lakers fans. Typically, you get a lot of Celtics fans too, everywhere. So I'm not super surprised by it because I feel like this is the way that just attending sporting events has kind of started a trend now, where you see more and more opposing fans in arenas and stadiums than you ever had before. But it was still insane seeing that.
It's wild to see.
Yeah.
It's a byproduct of StubHub and SeatGeek.
That's right. Yeah.
It's always important to think about how much the world has changed. I saw a video yesterday, probably on the For You tab. It's dangerous.
Oh, yeah. That For You tab.
Man,
Whoa,
buddy, that'll get you.
I tried to stay off this weekend.
Man, that'll get you. That'll get you goofy. But I think I might have been on it. Sometimes I slip up. I ain't perfect. Sometimes I slip up. I ain't never said I was perfect. Sometimes I slip up. But I saw a video, and somebody said, and this wasn't one of the ones that makes you crazy. It just was illuminating.
Yeah.
It said, here's a fraternity party, college campus from the mid-'90s. And I'm like, I could have been there.
Yeah.
And what you noticed about the party, the first thing you noticed about the party, if I just said, watch this video, what do you notice?
No one has cell phones. Yeah.
Everybody's just hanging out.
Right.
Everybody's just holding a cup, talking, looking. Nobody's phone, nobody's selfie, and nobody's doing scrolling. And it's just like, well, that's because you couldn't do that now. My point is this. 30 years ago, you got tickets to the Sixers playoff game and you want to sell them. Who you selling them to? How you selling them?
Right.
Probably your neighbor, some dude you work with, whatever. Well, now you know what you do? You post them on a website, and then anybody in the world can buy them. So what are Knicks fans doing? Think about the context of this situation. You go up 2-0. Joel Embiid's hurt. Knicks fans are like, oh, man, this is amazing, but it's so expensive to get into the Garden. Well, you can go to the Wells Fargo for a fraction of the price.
Yeah. Less than 2 hour travel time.
How about this?
Yeah.
I saw a guy quoted, a Knicks fan. He said, I went to game 2 in New York, and I had my seat cost on the secondary market $1,400. I bought a similar ticket at Wells Fargo for Game 4, my ticket was $175.
Yeah.
So Philadelphia fans are like, we're done. Embiid's hurt. I'll just try to get some money back on these. Knicks fans are like, let's go. This is as exciting as I've been. Then you get on Sunday. That's what happens. That's what happens. It's just a byproduct of technology and the simplicity with which we can move tickets around. And one fan base is experiencing something that they haven't experienced in a long time, real enthusiasm and energy and excitement. And the other fan base is beaten down because their star is beaten up. So, it's not hard to explain or understand. Can still be disappointing. I get Embiid, but when you add the context, it's not hard to understand or figure out how we got to this place. Either way, now it looks like Knicks are on the verge of advancing. And with the way this thing's breaking up, with Dame and Giannis both hurt, the Knicks could find an advantageous matchup in the second round of the playoffs and be favored to make the Eastern Conference Finals against, Boston Celtics. So it's a wild time to be alive.
Yep.
Wild time to be alive. NBA playoffs are fascinating. Michael Eaves will join me. I'll talk to him about them next.
Justin Timberlake. The Forget Tomorrow World Tour. Live in Memphis. Justin Timberlake. FedEx Forum, Saturday, November 23rd. Get tickets now at livenation.com. The brand new single Selfish is available to stream and download now. For more, hit up justintimberlake.com.
Heart Royal Flush Tour 2024. November 14th, FedEx Forum. A journey through the hits and timeless classics. The iconic band returns with special guests. Jason Bonham's Led Zeppelin Evening. Tickets on sale now at heart-music.com. Heart with Jason Bonham's Led Zeppelin Evening. Produced by AEG Presents.
Parrish Show. We're presented by Ortho South inside the Built Ford Tough Studio. And on Mondays in the second segment, I am joined by ESPN's Michael Eaves. He's here right now. Michael Eaves, it's GP, and I want to start with the 2024 NBA playoffs where it looks like Anthony Edwards is becoming the face of this thing. I know it's easy for me and a lot to get caught up in the moment, but this really does feel like it's a moment for Anthony Edwards and perhaps for the NBA as well. How do you size all that up?
I mean, to put it simply, Gary, he is that dude.
Yeah.
So he has a tremendous combination of assets that I think all truly great players need. First, confidence. We've seen that throughout his career. He has the confidence to take the shot when a lot of people wouldn't. He also has no fear, right? He's not afraid of the consequences of missing that shot. And that's something that Michael Jordan talked about often. Like, there's only two things that can happen. You either make it or you miss it. And if you miss it, you live to play, another game, another series. But he has no fear of the consequences. And third, which to me is something that I think every great player needs to possess, or all great players have possessed. They have an expectation, Gary, that they are supposed to be doing exactly what they are doing. And that is either dominating the moment, leading a team to victory, or carrying a team to a championship. And that is what Anthony Edwards seems to be displaying. He has an expectation that he's supposed to be outplaying Kevin Durant. He expects to outplay his idol in basketball, and he's doing it. When you have those three things, Gary, and you have obviously the athletic ability to get there, which you have to get to the league anyway, you can become a great player in this league, and most likely you will be one.
I want to talk about the lack of fear because I think that's incredibly important when you're talking about greatness. Now, I want to be clear. I stink at everything, all right? But I have competed throughout my life. And one of the things I'm not embarrassed because who cares? I'm a grown man. But like when I was a kid, I remember I had a real fear of failure. I had a real fear of, did you want to be up with bases loaded and 2 outs in the ninth or not up? And I would rather let somebody else have that moment. And as I watch my youngest son now, he has none of that. He has no concept of fear. He's very confident. And it's my favorite thing about watching him. He doesn't get nervous in spots where I know I would get nervous. I think that's when people are just comfortable in a space, that's such an advantage to have. And I really do think that can be a determining factor between greatness and just something a little short of that. And he seems to have it. Just if you could expand on in your own life, what it's like standing over a putt when you need to make it. Do you want to be in that moment, or are you so scared of missing it? It's just that can separate winners and losers a lot.
I'd say throughout my life, some of those moments I've gone back and forth on them. Right. Either I wanted to make that free throw or I wanted to make that putt. And that's obviously changed as I've gotten older or different circumstances. Now, also what I do professionally, Gary, there are moments of that where some people are afraid of that moment to be live announcing to the country that Kobe Bryant died. Yeah. I had no fear of that moment whatsoever in my life. I had no fear of it. Or asking a question that needs to be asked in a situation that could be adverse. I've never had that fear. I've just never had it. Now, back when I was younger, at a certain point, when you start thinking of the outcome more than what you're trying to do, then yes, that is fear, whether you realize it or not. So yes, I've had all those moments. And I think to do whatever you're doing to the greatest of your ability, or to the greatest of the moment that is required, you have to be fearless, man. You really do, because at the end of the day, what we're really talking about is nothing. We're not talking about a life or death situation by a surgeon that's going in to surgery, right? Like that can be a fear that someone else's life is in your hands. Or if, you're a military personnel and you're going into battle, that's real fear of what is about to be a moment in your life that the outcome could be grave, right? That's real fear. What we do and what these guys are doing, that's not real fear. But that doesn't mean that in relative terms that you can't experience fear and anxiety of what's going to happen. And for those who don't recognize it, refuse to accept it, or just look past it to what the actual goal is, to your point, those are the ones who become the greatest at what they do. And it is easy to explain. It's hard to accept and execute.
I still think Denver is the best team in the West. Denver is clearly still the favorite in the West, but I've reached the point where it's not hard for me to imagine the Minnesota Timberwolves being in the NBA Finals. This had looked unconventional with the two bigs in the modern era, and there were some real question marks heading into this season. But whether it's the regular season or what they've done through these first 4 games of the playoffs, they seem to have, and perhaps they didn't need to do this, but I'm assuming in some people's minds, they have legitimized themselves.
100%, 100%. And sometimes it's not what you have, it's what those people have done together to get to a certain point, right? And what Minnesota has done to this point, winning the first playoff series in 20 years for this franchise, that says a lot for where they see themselves in this current state of the NBA, but also it makes other people look at them as well, right? Because no one thought that for how many weeks there at the end, Gary, they were contending for the number 1 seed in the West. No one thought that was going to happen when the season started, regardless of the personnel. So you got to give credit to Anthony Edwards. You got to give credit to how Gobert and Karl-Anthony Towns have played together. And oh, by the way, we should give a lot of credit to the coach, who was one of the final candidates for Coach of the Year, and Chris Fitch. So they have all these things, but they don't have the experience yet of going up against a team that's won an NBA title. And once they get to that matchup, then you're really going to find out the true mettle of this team in its current state. Because sometimes, I always believe this in the NBA, typically, you have to learn how to win, right? And sometimes you have to go through a team that's done it before you can learn how to do it. And now the Timberwolves are going to have that opportunity.
On the other side of this Minnesota thing is Phoenix. Are there any easy answers in Phoenix? It doesn't seem like I said that somebody asked me this morning, and I'm like, you take Tim Legler, take Bobby Marks, take all the smartest basketball people put them in a room and say, figure out this Phoenix Sun thing, and it's not easy to do.
They are strapped by the salary cap with so much money tied up into their big three, if you want to call them that. Their draft pick situation in terms of not really having any is bad. And that's literally how you build a roster, through the draft and free agency. And they are strapped in doing that going forward. Now, clearly, somebody's going to have to go, right? Like, you're going to have to move an asset to get assets. Now, how difficult will that be? But, what I started to see in this series, and maybe even this year, is, and I mean this with all due respect, is the decline of Kevin Durant, right? And that's not, look, there's a natural arc to every player who's in the league. LeBron's the only one who has just blown that mold to pieces. But KD in this series was not able to do things that he's been able to do in past series. Like, there was one play, even particularly last night, he was trying to back down Anthony Edwards, and he couldn't really get through him, and it was hard to shoot over him, right? And that's what KD's done his entire career. So you've got a lot of money tied up in three players. You don't have any draft picks. And also, by the way, those players are getting older. Bradley Beal obviously didn't play very well in this series at all. So what do? You got to move somebody. Now, who ends up getting moved is going to be the question for that franchise. I think you can't move Devin Booker. He's your cornerstone. He's your franchise. But someone else is going to have to go if you are going to try to build for your future.
I don't like to play that game where I'm like, so I saw somebody on your network say this. What do you think about that? Because it almost feels like a trap sometimes. But I did see somebody on your network make a point that I think I'd probably heard different versions of it, but it seemed to, I don't know, I just found it interesting. And what he said was, Kevin Durant let NBA Twitter mess up his career because he had it good in Golden State, but people kept saying that Steph's team, you don't have real titles, you're not the guy there. And he felt like, okay, I got to go prove I can do this somewhere else. And since then, it's been a lot of disappointment. Is there any truth to that?
I think that's a bit of a stretch, because one thing we learned about Kevin Durant over the last several years of his career is he's his own dude, right? And he thinks about things maybe not in the same order or manner that we think he would, or maybe should, quite honestly. I don't know why he really left Golden State. I know Draymond Green had a lot to do with it, probably more so than the idea of being in Steph's shadow. Because here's the deal. When he went to that team, he was the best player of the team. Yeah. Who won Finals MVP? Right? Yeah. So was he really in Steph's shadow? I mean, was it Steph's team because he was the cornerstone? Yeah, but KD was the best player on those teams when he was there. There's no question about that. And then he goes to, the Nets, and all the things that happened there, that wasn't Kevin Durant. That was Kyrie and James Harden. They were the ones that messed up that chemistry, whatever it's supposed to be. Then he ends up in Phoenix, and it hasn't played out there. I think sometimes we look for something to point to as the reason for someone's downfall, the reasons for someone not getting more success. And I don't think we always have to look as far as we do to come up with that idea. I just think sometimes things don't work out, and you get older, and your career ends in a way maybe you didn't think it would. And that could be what we're seeing for Kevin Durant.
The Knicks are now up 3-1 on Philadelphia, and it comes after their fans largely took over Wells Fargo on Sunday afternoon. Joel Embiid, the reigning MVP, said, I want to be clear, I'm not calling anybody out. I'm not questioning our fans. But you asked me, is it disappointing to hear Knicks fans that loud in our building? And yes, of course, it's disappointing. It shouldn't happen. I was talking earlier with Bennett. I think I know how this happens. We now have 30 years ago, if you wanted to sell your playoff tickets to somebody, you probably just had to sell them to somebody you work with or live down the street from. Now you can just throw them on a website and anybody all over the world can buy them. Knicks fans recognize this is the best we've had it in a while. Sixers fans were down 0-2 and our MVP's hurt. I might make some money back. Knicks fans, I'll go 2 hours and watch our team play, and you get what you got yesterday afternoon. But still, it was quite a scene to hear Knicks fans that loud inside Philadelphia's arena.
So, I covered the Clippers in LA for 10 years.
Right.
And the loudest fan base of a visiting team was always New York. Second was Philadelphia, right? So they would get those tickets. And here's the deal. I have a good friend who has season tickets to the Lakers, some of the most expensive season tickets in the league. And they hope the Lakers make the playoffs so they can sell those tickets, right? Now, oftentimes it's Laker fans who buy them because those fans can't get tickets to other games and they'll spend the money. But because these tickets are so expensive, and I mean, I'm sure Grizzlies fans realize how expensive season tickets can be. Then you go to these other markets and those prices go up even more, similar to home prices. It's way more expensive to have season tickets in Philadelphia, New York, and LA than it is in Utah, Minnesota, or Memphis, right? And so if these fans want to continue to have their season tickets, they often have to sell some of them to make some profit to have the money to buy them the next season, right? And so if I'm a Sixers season ticket fan, a season ticket holder, like you said, and I need to get some money back, my team's down 0-2, and let's say I'm going to put just a round number on it. Let's say the ticket is $100, and I put it out there, and someone's willing to give me $700 for that ticket. Capitalism says you have to sell that ticket, right? Because that is ridiculous profit. Why would you not? So it's easy for Joel Embiid to sit up and say what the fans should or should not do with their tickets, but get your hands out my pockets, Joel. I'm paying for these tickets. And if y'all would have played better, maybe I would have felt more comfortable coming to the game. But once that decision's been made, what I do with my tickets, then it is what it is. So if someone's going to overpay for something, fine, then let them do it. But if you win the game, it doesn't matter, right? And I don't think the fans were the reason the Sixers lost that game.
Wrapping up here with Michael Eaves from ESPN. Last thing before I let you go. Nuggets, Lakers, Game 5 tonight. Lakers won Game 4, snapped that long losing streak to Denver. But barring a surprise, it probably ends tonight. Do you think obviously it's possible, do you think it's likely that we are watching LeBron James play his final game in a Lakers uniform tonight?
Oh, wow. I actually said this the other night when I was doing SportsCenter from Los Angeles. We were talking about it in our production meeting, and they were saying that last Laker game of the season for LeBron. And I said this could be his last Laker game, period, because we really don't know. He can opt out of his contract, obviously, for this upcoming year. I mean, if I'm putting the odds on it, it's probably 50-50. It really is. And if he's that serious about playing with Bronny, then it's going to depend on who literally picks Bronny in the NBA draft. And if they got enough money on their roster under the salary cap, then LeBron can go. Or actually, at that point, free agent, he's not for what he wants. He doesn't have to get the money he deserves. So I would say it's probably 50-50. And you know what? Good for him. He won him a championship. Like, what do you want to do?
Right. It'll be it'll be I saw Woj just sort of in passing in recent weeks say that he thinks player movement this offseason is going to be higher than normal. And the implications seem to be like some of these stars who are finding themselves eliminated early from the playoffs are going to look up and like try to figure out, is there a way to improve my situation or go to a different situation? And that combination with USA basketball happening this summer and a lot of these guys spending a lot of time together, it could be a really interesting July in the NBA. I guess it always is, but especially so this July.
Well, last July it was kind of tame by NBA standards, really. And the expectation was that this summer could see a lot more movement because of players, not just some guys who will be free agents, but guys who could opt out to be free agents and go to the portal, as we want to say in college basketball. You probably could see a lot of that. And, the question for the Lakers is how valuable for your franchise is the end of LeBron's career? Do you want him to play his very last NBA game in a Lakers jersey? Because for teams and legacies, that stuff kind of matters.
Yeah.
Does it matter enough for you to pick Bronny so he stays throughout his career? That's going to be the question for Rob Pelinka and Jeannie Buss.
That is Michael Eaves. You can follow him on X at Michael Eaves. Watch him on SportsCenter. That's ESPN. Appreciate you, brother. Thanks for being here.
All right, man. Be good.
Bye-bye. That's Michael Eaves from ESPN. I've got friends who are Grizzlies season ticket holders who will, exactly like what Mike was talking about there. Let's say you buy 41 home games, right? Yep. Whatever it is. There's a million different packages. But let's just say you buy the 41 home games. And I have friends who will then, they'll say, okay, we're going to go to 35 of these.
Yep.
But we're going to take these 6 Lakers, Warriors, whatever else might pop, Kevin Durant, Giannis. Yeah. And they will just sell the 4, 5, 6 biggest ones, and they'll make. I don't know how the math works, but
no, that's what my dad does. I don't think he's been to a Lakers or Warriors game in years, and he makes a lot of his money back on his season tickets because of those games.
Right.
Yeah, because he wants to see the Grizzlies, right? It does. If you could just, if as a season ticket holder you could just have that in your head, like I just want to see the Grizzlies. It's easy to do that.
Like
now again, you might want to see LeBron and Steph though, right?
I want to take my kids to see moments. So like this season, and I'm obviously traveling a lot during the season, but this season I made it a point. Like I wanted my kids to go see Nikola Jokic. I wanted my kids to go see again LeBron James.
Yep.
I want my kids to be able. I because of the way my life has unfolded and my career, like I've been to enough sports stuff. I don't sit around bragging about things that I've been to or caring about it at all, right? But there was a time in my life where I liked the idea that I could say, oh yeah, I saw Michael Jordan play, or I saw Magic Johnson play or whatever. How about for baseball? Like I always have this story. Like, yeah, I saw Mark McGwire, homer at Busch Stadium. Yeah, I mean, I watched Mark McGwire take batting practice. But I like being able to say those things. So I like to present those opportunities for my children. Like, hey, that's LeBron James. You're watching LeBron James in person right now. This is maybe the greatest player who's ever lived, and you're getting to watch him in person right now. Like, don't take this for granted. I like to have, but outside of those types of things, yeah, I totally get. I like going and watching the Grizzlies. I like having those nights, but if I can have 30 of those nights for free by selling 11 of them away, that makes some sense to me. Now, I know and the ticket people are like probably wanting to come up here and murder me right now because they don't like this. And I think they even put restrictions on it. Now I'm talking way out of turn. But I understand the finances behind it. Like, I can take this small batch of tickets, sell them, and pay for everything. And then I'm doing all the other stuff I do the rest of the year for nothing. Like that's just obvious. That makes financial sense to me. And it seems clear that's what some Philadelphia fans did here. We're down. I got these playoff tickets. We're down 0-2. Embiid's hurt. This is probably over. Oh my God. I can make 8 times. I got 4 tickets that I paid $200 each for. So that's $800. But now I can get them for $1,500. I can sell them for $1,500. I can make $6,000. I can turn this $800 into $6,000 just by selling some Game 4 tickets to some rich Knicks fans who want to drive 2 hours to Philadelphia. What? Why wouldn't you do that? Like, why wouldn't you do that unless money genuinely doesn't matter to you at all? Why wouldn't you you couldn't be talked into that? Hey, on Sunday afternoon, rather than go watch your reigning MVP limp around and probably lose to the Knicks, how about I just give you $6,000? What would you do? I don't know what you would do, but I understand why.
What would I do? I mean, I would keep my tickets and go to the game.
Okay, of course.
Yeah.
Of course you would. But
loyalty matters.
Philly
fans ain't loyal like that.
I know. I understand. Everybody can't hold themselves to the Bennett standard. I'm not trying to suggest that, but you understand why a different person might make a different decision.
Yes, of course.
Of course.
Yeah.
So that's all that was. That's all. Hey, Tuesday night in the Garden. I bet Philly fans won't overtake that one.
No, they won't. They won't be there. They've given up.
They've given up. That's over. And
it's over.
It's over.
Yeah.
Feels over.
It feels over.
Feels over. Good for them.
Yeah.
Good for everybody.
Yeah.
I don't care. We come back. Penny Hardaway. He said he thinks he can get Arkansas on the schedule because John Calipari is now the coach. I would argue this is precisely why he won't be able to get Arkansas on the schedule because because John Calipari is the coach. But we'll see.
Okay.
I'll tell you exactly what he said next. Gary Parrish Show, presented by Ortho South.
Don't Worry, Be Fluffy World Tour.
The minute you get into a brand new relationship, like magic, you know who really notices just how happy you are, guys? Other women, not your woman. Look how happy he is. I bet I can change that.
Friday, May 10th, FedEx Forum. Get your tickets now at fluffyguy.com. Don't miss a Memphis Don't Worry, Be Fluffy World Tour.
Grizzlies fans know it's the team that gives you the edge. Big River Steel does too. And much like the Grizzlies have recruited legendary talent, we want you to be part of our team. Are you ready to be part of something legendary? Then visit www.bigriversteel.com. That's www.bigriversteel.com.
Are you a healthcare professional looking for a new experience? Look no further than Travel Nurses Inc. Our extensive network of healthcare facilities across the country offers you the opportunity to discover new destinations while pursuing your passion. We provide competitive compensation, flexible contracts, and dedicated assistance. So join our community of nurses and allied health professionals and start your next adventure today. Visit our website at travelnursesinc.com for more information.
It's more fun to be there live to see the Memphis Grizzlies hit the court all season long. From the electricity in FedEx Forum to the highlight reel plays, there's nothing quite like Grizzlies basketball. As the official marketplace of the Memphis Grizzlies, Ticketmaster gets you in with a huge selection of seats. So get off the couch and into the stands while you still can. Score tickets today at Ticketmaster.com. That's Ticketmaster.com.
Today we have two very special guests on our program, introducing Lem and Lime.
Hello.
For Starry Lemon Lime Soda.
Thanks for having us.
What is Starry Lemon Lime Soda?
It's a crisp, clear burst of lemon lime flavor, and it's caffeine-free.
Between us, one of you must be a little more important to Starry than the other. Who is it?
We're both important.
So it could just as easily be Starry Lime Lemon Soda.
No, that doesn't sound right. Oh, I like it. So you saying hip-hop could be hop-hip. Works for me.
Starry Lemon Lime Soda. Starry hits different.
Orthopedic injuries can be unpredictable, unforeseen, and unscheduled, and Ortho South understands this better than anyone. Since your injuries don't make appointments, you don't need to either, and that's because Ortho South welcomes walk-ins during the weekdays and in the evenings, and even on Saturdays. So next time an unforeseen injury makes an unscheduled appearance in your life, visit Ortho South to find your nearest urgent care location. That's orthosouth.org. Just walk in at Ortho South and they'll take care of everything, especially you. You can learn more on the website, orthosouth.org. That's OrthoSouth at orthosouth.org. Bennett, it was just a week ago. Just a week ago, I was at Ortho South. I had a bulging disc in my back.
Right.
Go ahead, ask me how I'm doing.
Is it still bulging?
No.
No.
Mm-mm.
They pushed that thing back in, huh?
Push that thing back in.
Nice.
I don't know that that's actually how they did it.
I don't know how they handle that.
I don't know how to fix a bulging disc, a slip disc.
Mm-hmm.
But I know whatever Ortho South did, this is the point. Whatever Ortho South did, worked.
Nice.
I feel better.
Good people over there.
Great people over there. I was in and out very quickly, and now I feel better.
Thanks, Ortho South.
Thank you, Ortho South. I got 5 more things you need to know.
Number 1.
Penny Hardaway spoke publicly for the first time in comments that were made last night on Action News 5 Coaches Show. I don't know why they're doing the final Coaches Show on April 29th.
I was just wondering that. Didn't the season end like a month ago?
I don't understand the explanation for it.
That's kind of weird.
I mean, you ready for this? More than a month ago.
Yeah, I was like, what?
Why are we doing?
As soon as you said that, I was like, wait, what?
Well, I saw a tweet yesterday. And it was like, can't wait for tonight. It's the season. It's the final show of the season. Penny Hardaway Coaches Show. I'm like, what? It's April 29th. Like at this point, we should be having like the final like Frank Vogel Coaches Show of the season. That would make more sense.
In fairness, I'm glad he took some time because he might have said some bad stuff about that team.
It might have been one where he was like, that might have been one where they were like, hey, coach, we got to do the season-ending show. And
I don't want to talk about them. I don't want to talk about those dudes.
He's like, you know what? Give me 5 weeks.
Yeah.
Give me 5 weeks to forget how much I hate these guys.
Yep.
And then I'll sit down and it'll sound different. So he sat down. Hey, whenever you do it, you do it.
Yep.
All right? Whenever you do it, you do it. So he sits down, and among other things, he said 2 interesting things. Okay, one of them, he says he thinks that David Jones will be back at Memphis next season. That's good.
Yeah, that'd be massive.
I mean, in all seriousness, if he's still, because coaches at this point, they should have a sense for who's leaving and who's staying, regardless of what anybody has said publicly. Like, if you're good at your job, you should have a sense right now. Like, I should be able to call any college coach in America, particularly a high major coach at this point, and say, all right, transfer portal closes in a couple of days. Where are you at? Who you think's coming back? And they should be able to know that. And the fact that Penny publicly is still saying, I think David Jones is going to be back at Memphis next season, suggests that that's where this is probably headed, unless he's just wrong. But I say this sincerely, like, who should know better than him?
Right. To me, it feels like one of those situations where because he's declared for the draft, right?
Yeah, but maintain his college eligibility. That's normal. Everybody does that.
Yeah, and so it seems like one of those things where it's like you're hoping to hear whether you're going to get drafted or not, that a team might make a promise like, hey, even if we don't get you, we got a two-way ready for you, that kind of thing. And if something's out there, I would think he goes. But if it's not, I would think he leans towards coming back.
Well, like this could be another deal where if you're Memphis, this might not be the dumbest way to approach this. And just be like, hey, go through the process.
Yeah,
don't sign anything. Don't do anything until you talk to me. Don't make any decision before you talk to me, but go through the process. And you know what? Let them see what's out there.
Yeah, for sure.
Hey, if somebody says they'll give you a guaranteed 2-year deal as an undrafted free agent in the NBA, then yes, you probably
got to do that.
You probably need to do that. But what if you get out there and the best thing anybody is, and here's what I would be telling Dave Jones, don't let anybody tell you they might do something. We ain't dealing in mights, all right?
Because we got your money right here.
You get a promise, a guarantee from an NBA franchise that they say they'll get you 2 years, $900,000 or whatever. Like, they could bring it back to me, and there is a scenario where I might look at you, young man, and say, buddy, I'd love to have you, but you got to go, all right? But what if nobody's actually guaranteeing these things?
Right.
But I can guarantee you hundreds of thousands of dollars to come back to the University of Memphis. Don't make a decision before talking to me. And you just let the market dictate what you got to do for David Jones. In other words, last week, as all this other recruiting stuff is swirling around, people are like, can't you take this money that you might theoretically give to a 5-star forward at a high school and just give it to David Jones? Well, what if you're just going to let the market settle before you commit to anything with David Jones? Like, what if the best option for David Jones might be to come back to Memphis for $200,000 or you might need to make it $800,000. Well, let the market dictate that. Let him go through the process, see what's actually out there, and then say, okay, now you're making a decision between what you've been told by the NBA and here's what we can guarantee you to do one more year at the University of Memphis, and then see what's what. But again, I think if you're a Memphis fan, you should be encouraged that Penny Hardaway still, as of late April, and I know the interview was pre-recorded, but Penny Hardaway seems to still think David Jones being back at Memphis is a likelihood. And if so, combined with the other pieces that are both back and added, clear favorite in the AAC.
Yeah.
And I think probably a preseason top 40 team in America, which, not going to get them in the national championship conversation, not to start with, but given what we just went through and where the roster looked like it might be just a month ago, it's not the worst thing in the world to be experiencing. So that was one interesting thing Penny said. Another one, he thinks he can now get Arkansas on the schedule because John Calipari is now the coach at Arkansas, and Arkansas fans want to play the University of Memphis. Do you think John Calipari would agree to play Memphis in a home-and-home series?
Okay, if you're holding me to it, I'd say no. However, the one thing that gives me a shred of optimism about this is Cal, when he was here, and I know obviously things have changed and he became the biggest thing in college basketball, everything like that, but he understood the power of those big games like that. He understands the power of big-time college basketball regular season games. Like he knew how big that Tennessee series was when he was here at Memphis, and I do think he recognizes Memphis, Arkansas. Like he knows the history there. John Calipari knows the history of Memphis, Arkansas, and so that gives me a little bit of optimism that maybe he recognizes this could be a huge regular season basketball game. We'll get a ton of eyeballs on this thing, and he loves eyeballs on his games.
Problem is, anything he does gets eyeballs.
Yep.
And I just don't think he would ever put himself in a position to lose inside FedEx Forum. Not voluntarily.
Maybe not.
What
if I give you one in Fayetteville, one in Memphis, one in Little Rock?
I want to be clear. I don't know. I haven't talked to John Calipari about this in years, all right? I don't know where his head's at. But the John Calipari I know would never agree to play in FedEx Forum. Never. And I mean never with a capital N, capital E, everything else capitalized. That guy would never agree to come here. It's why I always thought it was funny. Like, even when Penny got hired, he was like, oh, I've been talking to John for years about, you know, hey, if I were ever the Memphis coach and you're a Kentucky coach, we got to get this thing going. And John's like, okay, we'll do it. And I was like, yeah, because he was recruiting James Wiseman. He'll tell you anything he needs to tell you. You know, he's recruiting James Wiseman while you're at East High School. Of course, if you just randomly throw out, you know, if I'm ever the Memphis coach and you're the Kentucky coach, we should get this thing. Oh, yeah, of course. Because what's the alternative? No. Say no. Well, we're just talking about something that'll probably never happen anyway. Say no and get you mad and mess up my recruitment of James Wiseman. And you know, like, what? So you just say yes, of course. So then Penny's like, I talked to John about it. Yeah, but I don't mean he'd actually do it. He said he would, the idea of it is something he would maybe do someday. Well, now it's time to make a decision. He ain't doing that. I don't believe John Calipari will ever agree to come to FedEx Forum voluntarily. The only way he's ever here for a basketball game, I think, is NCAA tournament, NIT, stuff like that. I can't imagine him agreeing. But you know, I'd love for it. I grew up with the Memphis Arkansas series.
Yeah, man. I mean, I think it would do numbers. I think it'd be big.
It's awesome. It's all like Nolan Richardson was recruiting Memphis, and they were quite literally winning a national championship with Memphis-born players, and that was sort of the end of the beginning of the end of the Larry Finch thing. Part of it was because Nolan was coming into Memphis and getting players. Obviously, the death knell, if there was I shouldn't use that phrase, but like the real this is going to be hard to recover from. That was Tony Harris going to Tennessee, as opposed to anybody going to Arkansas. But Tony Harris going to Tennessee followed the Todd Days and other big-time Memphis players crossing the river to Arkansas, and that was a real rivalry that meant something. And if you remember when John was the coach in Memphis, he wanted nothing to do with that. You know, famously said if SEC teams want to play Memphis, they should just invite us to go to the SEC. We'll play them all. But if you're not going to invite us to go to the SEC, why are we going to invite you to come to our city? Like, that was his, and I know he's on the other side of it now, but that was his rationale before. And now his rationale would just be, I think, for selfish reasons. I don't want to put myself back in that building to be like, you want to walk in front of who voluntarily agrees to walk in front of 18,000 people and just be booed and called names?
Right.
Like, why would you want to do that? And then, like, if you lose, it's like that. It would bother. It's not worth it. If I bet in John Calipari's mind, it's not worth it. And if I were advising him, I'd say, I'd love for you to do it, but I don't know why you would. I don't know why you would do this.
I agree. I mean, he loves that spotlight, and he's not going to get the spotlight that he had at Arkansas, that he had at Kentucky. And how do you get that spotlight? By having massive games that, I mean, again, Memphis, I know we're talking Memphis, Tennessee here, which is different than Memphis, Arkansas, but like, that was one of the highest rated college basketball games of all time. Sure. 1 versus 2. Yeah. And that was the perfect storm, but like, it was still a regional rivalry.
But here's the thing, like, you care about Memphis and Arkansas because of where we live.
Yeah.
Nationally, in terms of doing big numbers.
But it's Cal back against Memphis. He's at his new school. He's playing Memphis again.
Yeah, well, he's already going to have that going back to Kentucky.
That's true. That's true. They're going to get that game already. You're right.
I hope. I'd love for it to happen. Either way, we should make it known. Like, the schedule for this upcoming season is basically done.
It's done, yeah.
They've got their home and homes done, their multi-team events done. They got to fill out some bye game stuff. So even if Cal were to let's play, it's probably not this season. But just broadly speaking, going forward, I'm skeptical. I'm skeptical. But I appreciate his effort.
No.
A for effort.
Number 2.
EYBL was in town this weekend. By all accounts, it went well.
I saw Devin was there.
I
was actually following along with him the whole time.
Team Thad was there.
Yep.
They actually played against that Oakland, against that team that has A.J. Debansa, I think, best high school player in the country, a projected future number 1 pick in the draft. Played him close, ultimately lost, but I read Jason Munn's story in the Commercial Appeal, and Team Thad's got I mean, you can't even be at this level of grassroots basketball
Right.
without having some high-level guys. But they don't have as many high-profile guys as, say, some of the other teams, but showed themselves well this weekend, particularly in that game against Advance. And I do think this stuff is important for Memphis.
Norton Hurd said it after.
To just have people coming to our city.
With all the bad news that's come out of this city lately, he said when he talked about it, when he was interviewed, that this is something that Memphis should be proud of and cherish because it's a big deal.
It's a big deal, and it's a big deal when people go places and spend time there and eat in your restaurants and stay in your hotels and see your airport. And like I grew up playing sports, not at the level at which these young men are playing EYBL basketball. Like I told Michael Eaves, I sucked at everything. I'd never been. I'm starting to realize I've never really been good at anything. You know?
Yeah.
It is a hell of a thing to find out about yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Just not really any good at anything.
Mm-mm.
Wouldn't it be nice to be good at something?
Yeah.
What do you think you're best at?
Growing a beard.
Yeah, I mean, you are good at that. I'll tell you that. You are good at that.
I got a lot of useless like movie trivia that I could win at movie trivia.
But just like in things that you do.
Yeah.
You know, like even like, are you good at cornhole?
I'm actually pretty good at cornhole. I could enter a cornhole tournament. Yeah.
Okay, Bennett.
I could enter a cornhole tournament.
Like,
yeah.
I think I'm starting to come to realization that I'm subpar at everything. Like anything. Growing up, I just think I'm subpar at everything. Cornhole, ping pong, pool, darts, golf.
Yeah.
Everything. I'm just not good at anything. And I'd like to be good at something. What do you think it would take for me to be good at something?
Oh, it's too late.
It probably is.
Age, yeah. Like we're too far along to pick something up. I mean, maybe pickleball.
Pickleball.
Old people play pickleball.
But I feel like I would get into pickleball and I'd buy all the best pickleball equipment. And
That's
I would
what
have
people
all the,
do. Yeah.
And I'd have all the best pickleball stuff. And then I'd get out there and I'd just suck at it too. I'd just get beat by somebody who just started playing pickleball yesterday.
Yeah.
I feel like I still got some good years left. But
you definitely do.
But what is the point if I'm not good at anything?
It's a different conversation for a different day, dude.
Probably. Here's my point. Still, I've been doing things my whole life, even if I've never been good at it.
Yep.
And I have vivid memories of like going to places. Like we're in Cape Girardeau, Missouri for a soccer tournament. And so I grew up going to Lambert's and catching throat rolls. And
oh, that was awesome.
It was awesome.
Man, I missed that. Do they still do that?
Of course they do.
I hadn't done that.
It seems like if you're going to do it, you better do it now because they'll take that away at some point.
Yeah, they'll stop. I know someone's going to get hit in the face with a roll and they're going to get rid of the rolls.
Somebody's going to go blind from butter in the eye.
Yeah.
And then, can't get butter in your eye. And next thing you know, they're going to shut down the throat rolls at Lambert's because one person got butter in their eye.
Yeah.
That's coming, Bennett.
It is.
But right now, you could still go there. So I grew up like having memories of some of my favorite memories as a kid are like, being on the road with a baseball team or a soccer team and experiencing these cities. And hundreds, if not thousands of people, including Akeem Olajuwon.
That was crazy.
Akeem the Dream just walking around.
That's wild.
It's a wild situation.
Yeah.
Who doesn't like the Akeem the Dream just walking around, just dream shaking around the city?
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
So you bring all these people here, and then you hope they have a good experience. And then every time, because this is what happens, same thing happens to you. You do it all the time. You ready for this? Watch this. Watch this. So I was reading an interesting story about Peru earlier. You ever been to Peru?
Yes.
How was that?
Great.
See there, you have you connect with that.
Yeah.
Right? Because you've been there, because you've seen it. You boots on the ground and all that stuff. So 10 years from now, 20 years from now, 30 years from now, people be sitting around, they're watching Grizzlies games or Tigers games, or they're watching some concert. And it's like, oh, wow, look, it's Glorilla live from Memphis. And it's like, oh, I've been to Memphis before. Remember when we were 12? We were there for EYBL, stayed over there, went and had barbecue over there. Remember that? And then that night at the hotel and so-and-so, jumped in the pool, and everybody's got memories, and they're positive memories tied to the city of Memphis. How's that not a great thing? Don't you want people to have positive memories tied to the city of Memphis?
You're damn right I do.
I do too. So this is great. This is great. I know we get more excited when the Lakers come to town or the Warriors come to town, but the EYBL circuit and some of the best young basketball players in the world all spending a weekend in Memphis. Like AJ DeBanson will forever. Like whenever he comes back to play either for the Grizzlies or against the Grizzlies in the NBA, if you ever say, hey, you ever been to Memphis before? You know what he'll say?
Yeah, I came here for the Nike EYBL.
I like that.
I like that too.
We need more of that.
Mm-hmm. We do.
We need more of
more
that.
positive things for the city.
More positive things for the city, Bennett. Put that on a bumper
shirt,
sticker or shirt or something. Just do whatever you want to with it.
Number 3.
Taylor Swift.
What's she doing?
Setting records. Tortured. The Tortured Poets Department. It's now officially record setting. I think we knew this was happening, but it is now. 2 things for you, Bennett. One, it's the most streamed album in the first week ever. Bigger than anything Drake's ever done, Beyonce's ever done. You name it. We never seen anything bigger.
Bigger than Kids Bop?
I just told you. Bigger than it's the most streamed album in the history of the
wouldn't have
world
thought that.
in the first week. What do you thought that? What do you mean you wouldn't thought that?
Oh, all we listen to is Kids Bop. I would have thought it's the most popular thing in the world.
Oh no, you'll grow out of that.
Yeah.
The things you have to go through as a father of young children, boy, you listen and watch some wild stuff, right? Then eventually, like, you get back to normal. You'll get back to normal. But I know what you're going through right now. Nope. The Tortured Poets Department, most streamed album ever in the first week. And it is also now officially Taylor Swift's 14th number 1 album, which ties her all time. Don't tell me. I'm not going to tell you. Okay. I mean, I will tell you eventually, but I want you to guess. Yeah. It's trivia time.
Yeah, it's trivia time.
It's trivia time. No solo artist has ever had more number 1 Billboard albums, chart-topping albums, than Taylor Swift. But one person has many. Taylor Swift is now tied for the lead with one other person. Who is that person?
Okay, so you throw out the Beatles because they didn't have 14 albums.
Welp.
Is it?
Welp. The Beatles, I know you know this, not a solo artist.
Oh, solo. Okay, solo artist. All right. Michael Jackson didn't have 14 albums. This is tough. I mean, that's a lot. It's got to be someone who's been doing it forever. Is it Elvis? It's not Elvis.
Elvis Presley has 10 number 1 albums as a solo artist.
Yeah.
That ties him for 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th. Elvis Presley is tied for 7th all time among solo artists with 10 number 1 albums. Also with 10 number 1 albums, Eminem, and we said last week, Future.
Okay. And we're looking for 14.
And by the way, hint, focus on the rap game. Do you want to know why? Because rappers are, they release a lot.
They release a lot of albums.
And hip-hop has been the dominant genre of music in our country for quite some time now. So think of rappers who have been around a long time and are wildly successful, and that makes up a lot of the list.
It's got to be Kanye or Jay-Z.
Jay-Z.
Yeah.
Jay-Z has 14 number 1 albums. That is exactly as many as Taylor Swift. Jay-Z has 14 solo number 1 albums, tied with Taylor Swift. The Beatles are number 1 all time with 19. Beatles have 19 number 1 albums. Now, some of those are like best of. And
that's right. Okay. Yeah, Beatles 1.
Beatles
I got it.
Love,
that makes
Beatles
sense.
1, all that stuff. But the Beatles have 19 number 1 albums. That's the most all time. Solo artist, 14, Jay-Z and Taylor Swift. So she'll break. She might, if she wants to catch the Beatles, she will. It's up to her.
Like tomorrow.
Like if she wanted to do it tomorrow, if she just wanted to release 6 more albums tomorrow, why wouldn't you do this?
Just go ahead and knock it out.
Just go ahead and knock it out. Like take those 31 songs she just released, break them up into 5 different albums, and catch the Beatles. Just
eventually,
like
I don't care how big you are. There's gonna be oversaturation. Like eventually,
we might be getting there.
Yeah.
Okay. Then after
this one.
It's fine. It
ain't my favorite.
I have new opinions about that album. You ready for the new opinion about that album? If you put it on random and you just listen to songs over and over, just pop, 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 pop. And after every one, 31 different songs, it's just bouncing all over the place. Here's a new song. Here's another one. Here's another one. And after the song's over, if I go, Bennett, what'd you think? You go, that's a good song. Sounded just like the other songs, but it's good.
Yep.
There's not shit songs in there, really. It's just too many they sound exactly alike. But they're not bad songs. This must be the struggle for Taylor Swift. I can write all these songs. They're all good. Why wouldn't I just release them? Because they all sound just alike, and we don't need this many of them. But they're not bad songs. They're just a lot of the same sounding songs. Either way, she's stuck at 14 right now. Jay-Z and Taylor Swift, they have 14 number 1 albums. After that, it's Drake with 13. After that, with 11 tied, Barbra Streisand.
Okay, Barb.
Bruce Springsteen.
The boss.
And Kanye West. And after that, it's Elvis Presley, Eminem, and Future with 10. So congrats to Taylor Swift. She's up to 14. That puts her tied with Jay-Z and only behind the Beatles all time.
Number 4.
Ezekiel Elliott. Zeke.
I call him Zeke.
Zeke.
Mm-hmm.
Sounds easier. Reportedly about to re-sign with the Dallas Cowboys. Are you excited to have Zeke back in Dallas?
Oh, I'm thrilled.
You thrilled? You don't care.
No, I don't care.
You took Dallas's running back to Nashville.
That's right.
And they had to get their old running back. Does Zeke have anything left?
I mean, he was good last year. He was way better than people remember for the Patriots. And now obviously Ramondre Stevenson got hurt towards the end of the year, and so Zeke played a ton down the stretch. But for a team that was terrible offensively, he was like one of the bright spots for them. So yeah, I think he's not going to feed Zeke.
Does he still do this thing?
Oh yeah, he still does that.
Okay.
Yeah, he still does that.
I like that.
The crazy thing about it though is, I wouldn't expect him to come back and feed Zeke for the Cowboys like he used to be all those years, but he's probably going to be their starting running back. They don't have anybody there. Again, they lost their starter in Tony Pollard. He's in Nashville now. And they got nobody behind Zeke. They didn't draft anybody.
I know, but they signed some fella, and I just saw when they signed him, everybody was like, this can't possibly be our running back.
No, it was Royce Freeman, like a journeyman. Yeah. They have no real names in that run. They drafted, I can't think of his last name, Deuce, who they drafted late last year. That was it was Deuce Vaughn. Yeah. But he's a guy they got there that I guess will play a little bit. But it's going to be Zeke. Like, he'll be their starter if they don't do anything else.
Well, I hope he does well.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
It'd make for a cool story.
Sure.
It'd make for a cool story. I like Zeke.
Are Cowboy fans excited about it?
Yeah, because they all have the jersey. So now you can put your jersey back on.
You can repurpose it.
Yeah.
How do you feel, by the way, about jerseys of players who have left your team? In other words,
I still rock them.
You can rock a Derrick Henry jersey.
Yeah, I rock a Marcus Mariota jersey.
You don't care
all the time.
So I could wear. I don't own any jerseys because I'm a grown man.
Oh, I know. Everyone out there shamed me the other day for talking about wearing jerseys.
Yeah, I don't have any jerseys because I'm an adult.
Yeah, they said that's embarrassing that you wear another man's name on your back. I'm like, what?
Oh no, I'll put another man's name on my back. I'll put another man's name on my back.
What the hell's wrong with jerseys? Jerseys are cool.
Well, not for old men.
Yeah.
Do you think so?
Yeah.
You think jerseys are cool for old men?
Dude, I'll wear a jersey in here tomorrow.
Okay.
You want me to?
Well, let's think about an old man, like Joe Biden. If you saw Joe Biden wearing Desmond Bain jersey.
Probably would help him get reelected.
Might.
If Joe Biden threw on a jersey like tomorrow and did a press conference, yeah.
I'd love to see Joe Biden in a Desmond Bain jersey.
Dude.
What if Joe Biden just walked in a tight-fitted Desmond Bain jersey? You would laugh, and you would think that's amazing, but you would also be like, that's kind of wild that old man's wearing a jersey.
No.
No, you would like
if
that.
He really did show up at his presser in a Desmond Bain,
But no
you get my vote, Joe.
No undershirt.
You get my vote, Joe.
And big, bushy underarm hair. You think Joe Biden's got big, bushy underarm hair?
Yeah.
I bet he does, too.
Yeah, he probably does.
Old men have big, bushy stuff.
Yeah, for sure.
Like hair and out of their ears.
I'm hairy, yeah.
Yeah, like comes out of their ears and out of their noses and stuff.
Yeah.
Old man, it's wild. Have you noticed hair just starts growing places?
Everywhere.
I had my first experience with an ear hair. I was like,
pluck those things.
But it came out like that, Bennett, like that.
Yeah.
I was like, how is that coming out of my ear?
A little scary.
What in the world? I bet
scary.
you Joe Biden's got crazy.
I bet he does too.
Bush underarm.
I bet
hair.
he does too.
You shave your underarms, yes or no? Trim them?
Have I? Yes. Have I recently? Hell no.
Underarms hairier than your face, yes or no?
No.
Underarms less hairy than your face?
Yes. Less hairy than my face.
I like that. Mm-hmm. I'm not scared to shave underarms.
No, I'll shave them.
I'll shave them. Clean.
It
Feels
gets a
cleaner.
Itchy though.
It can.
That's the problem with the armpit is it gets a little itchy.
I know, but you want to be clean. Doesn't it make you feel a little cleaner?
Yeah.
A man walking around with a beard, though, you don't care about how you feel about it.
I don't care.
You don't care. You've given up.
No, this beard's clean, contrary to popular belief.
It looks clean.
Yeah.
It looks like a clean beard
Yeah,
right
it
now.
gets washed quite often.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So you'll rock a jersey. I don't wear a jersey, but here's what I was going to ask you. If I do have jerseys. I like shirts with, I'll put a man's name on my back.
I think jerseys are dorky.
Okay, now we're...
I think jerseys are dorky.
Now we got to fight.
if you're gonna wear a jersey, just go all in and wear a jersey. And I have some jerseys too, but I like haven't worn them in a long time now because I'm like, this ain't the.
I don't wear jerseys partly because I'm an adult. Mm-hmm. That goes without saying. Partly because I don't like the way they feel. We talked about this. Like this.
You don't like how they feel? What do you mean, free?
I mean,
they're like open. I mean,
no, the
freedom,
the fabric of.
Oh, okay.
Like every shirt,
scratchy.
I cannot put it on my body, so I can't wear a jersey without having something like this underneath. And if you wear something like this on underneath, it looks like you're trying to cover up. And then what are you even doing?
I mean, jerseys have come a long way, man. Like, those things are comfortable now,
but not as comfortable as this shirt.
Probably not as comfortable as just like a cotton tee. I would agree with that.
So I'm going soft cotton tee every time over jersey. But can I wear, here's what I'm trying to ask you. If I got Jacob deGrom on my back of my Mets jersey, is that okay? Even though he now is a Texas Ranger.
I would, yes.
But does it only work for all-time greats? Like deGrom, you could say, well, of course I still rock my deGrom. He's a 2-time Cy Young Award winner. But can I still wear my, I don't know, Lucas Duda?
Yes.
I can wear my Lucas Duda.
I think because now like the cool thing is random jerseys. And so, like if years from now I'm rocking like if years from now I'm at a Titans game and I got on my Marcus Mariota jersey, everyone's like, oh damn, this dude's rocking a friggin' Titans Mariota jersey.
Look at that. You're cool.
That's kind of a thing, all right? Like you'll be at like a Grizzlies game and like someone in front of me the other night, we were all there like, dang, he's got on a Bucks Michael Redd jersey. Like it was, it's like the cool, like, I can't believe that dude's got that jersey. Yeah.
I feel like you think people are thinking about this stuff a lot more than they are.
They are. Yeah. It's a thing. It's a thing.
Yeah, oh, wow. I didn't know. Anyway, Zeke Elliott's back in Dallas. That's what we were going to say. Mm-hmm. And now people have Zeke Elliott jerseys and they'll be able to wear them again.
Yes, they will.
Good for them. Good for them.
Number 5.
Oh, it's bad news for Britney Spears, Bennett, according to TMZ. Oh, how much time you got?
A lot. Let's go. What's wrong with Britney?
She's on the verge of going broke, and she's dysfunctional, and that's a terrible combination. I mean, I wouldn't want to be on the verge of going broke or dysfunctional, but you certainly wouldn't want to be either one. You wouldn't want to be both at the same time.
And didn't she like make a killing off that new book?
According to reports. Let's talk seriously for a moment.
Yeah.
According to reports, because remember she went through this whole trial.
Yes.
And her assets were listed.
The conservatorship trial.
That's right.
Yeah, okay.
And so she was under a conservatorship. That's a hard word to say for me, at least. Conservatorship. She was under a conservatorship that her father was running because she seemed mentally unfit to handle her finances and other things. And then the Free Britney movement happened.
Right.
She spent years underneath this conservatorship. And the Free Britney movement happens, and they end up in court, and ultimately she is freed. The conservatorship is removed. But in the context of all of that stuff coming out, it was reported that she had about $60 million worth of assets.
Okay.
Now, that's more money than most people have, but that ain't so much money where you can just do whatever you want to do for the rest of your life.
Without working or without having some sort of revenue?
It's just, so here's
to live the life that she is used to living.
To live the life that she is currently living.
Yep.
You can't keep living like this. Obviously, if I just dumped $60 million on you.
Yeah, if you gave me $6 million, I'm good.
You're fine.
Forever.
But you can't, it's like, there are reports like all the time that like Kanye West is a billionaire. Kanye West is on the verge of going broke. And it's like the fluctuation between those two things seems crazy. But these are the way these people operate. So the reports from TMZ are that she is going to French Polynesia every month or two by herself. She's now completely isolated.
French Polynesia?
She's now completely isolated from everybody. No family, no friends. All right? Mm-hmm. The husband she had is no longer involved.
Right.
And she is mentally like, I mean, Jesus Christ, go to Instagram. Like, just don't take my word for it. Just go to, she looks like a bananas person.
Yeah.
Like, if Britney Spears was not Britney Spears, but she was your neighbor's wife, and she was just doing nothing more than posting on Instagram the way Britney Spears posts on Instagram, you would be really concerned about your neighbor's wife.
I agree.
You would be like, you would sit down at your kitchen table with your family and be like, so you see what's going on with neighbor's wife? Like, should we walk over there and see if there's anything we can do? Like, you would be having these conversations. But because it's Britney Spears, we just look at it and we go, heart, heart, repost. But she's like, not okay. It seems obvious, right? Like if she were your neighbor, you would be concerned. But because she's Britney Spears, you support her. As opposed to you're like, free Britney. She doesn't seem like she's okay. So TMZ is reporting that she is now dysfunctional. Like she can't get through the day like a normal person. Wild mood swings, erratic behavior. She has no friends, no family, no nothing. And I mean, her kids are completely detached from her.
Yeah.
And living in Hawaii. Her own children won't speak to her. It's sad. It's like not
That
even
is
funny.
sad,
It's
yeah,
just sad.
right.
Her own children won't speak to her. Like it's one thing if you don't have the best relationship with your children or whatever, like life's complicated. But when your own children just, no, we're not going to communicate with you in any way. That's sad. And so the reporting is that left to her own devices, she has nowhere to be, nothing to do, nobody to be with. She's just living this wild lifestyle where she goes to French Polynesia once or twice a month, stays at this ridiculous resort by herself. She takes a private plane by herself in like a small staff and just goes to Polynesia and spends $1 million. It's like every trip's basically $1 million. They say she flies to Hawaii once a month. She'll just wake up on a Tuesday and be like, let's go to Hawaii. And she gets a private plane, goes to Hawaii, stays at the Four Seasons, and those trips are, $400,000, $500,000, $700,000 every time. She does it once a month. She's not recording anymore. She's not touring. She's not performing in any sort of way. I don't even know what that could look like for her going forward, given where she is in her life. And the reports from TMZ are that the people who are now, at least in her orbit still, are very concerned that, like, not only is she not well, but she's on the verge of going broke too. And it's one thing to be erratic and all over the place when, like, you still don't have to worry about the things most people in this world have to worry about every day. But she is taking all of this wealth that she accumulated as a child and as a young adult, and now in a matter of years, it is, in some ways months, it's just disappearing because she has nobody to tell her no. She has nobody to help her. And there's some real thought now that a lot of the same people who were saying free Britney are now saying unfree her. Like, you can say whatever you want to about her mom, dad, sister, the world, but on these people might not be perfect, but she was better off with these people in control of her life, as opposed to the way she is right now.
I mean, I think that's just one of those things where, maybe like looking back on that they had her best interest in mind, trying to have that conservatorship and take care of her finances and be in control of all that. But at the end of the day, when you don't want that to happen anymore and you're your own person, I feel like that how that went down is probably how it should have went down.
Listen, it's complicated. I'm not sitting here saying it's a mistake or it's
right.
I don't know. I just know that, who else thinks you don't have their best interest in mind when you clearly do? You ready? Your son. My children. Because there are people in this world where, it was just as, hey, you ready for this? Just as simple as last night. I walk into my middle guy's bedroom and he was, still watching stuff. And I said, hey, buddy, we need to, it was time to shut it down. We got school in the morning, long week. It's time to shut this down. He wanted to fight with me about it.
Yeah.
All right. And you know what he thinks? I'm just being mean.
Right.
I'm just trying to control him. I'm just trying to tell him what to do. You know what I'm really just trying to do? Make sure he gets a good night's sleep so that we could get up this morning and have a good morning and get off to school and have a good week.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to control him. I'm just trying to do what's best for him to the best of my ability. Like my best interest, his best interests are the only thing that I'm concerned with. I'm not trying to hold him back or keep him down or anything. I just think buddy, you're not going to go to bed on your own, but you need to. It's what's best for you. How different is that than what Britney Spears' parents were trying to do? I know she's a grown woman and she's made millions and she's a celebrity or whatever, but she left to her own choices. it seems clear. You ready for this? Judges once upon a time decided this woman can't take care of herself.
Right.
All right? Just like your child can't be left to their own. Like, I don't mean to compare an adult to you, but you get the point.
I get it. So they're still your kids, right?
So it was very easy for the world to get caught up in her dad is trying to control her.
Mm-hmm.
But what if her dad was like, yes, I am trying to control her because you have no idea what I'm dealing with. You people don't know who she's not okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Because eventually now dad's out of the picture. Now everybody's out of the picture. Nobody's controlling her. And the reports are she is spiraling. She doesn't know where to look, doesn't know where to turn. And she is acting so erratically that now it's not just harming her relationships in her life, it's impacting her generational wealth. She will be broke if she continues to live this lifestyle. And with nobody there to tell her she can't do it, and with her reportedly lacking the capacity to understand what you can and cannot do, or at least lacking the whatever it takes to follow through on these things, that's a terrible recipe, isn't it?
Yes.
I feel bad for her.
I do too. It's tough.
It is tough. And what do you do if her parents? That must be tough too. Like, it's always easy to like look at these people and just pretend they're not real people. Man, I bet you everybody in this whole situation is miserable.
Mm.
Like I bet you Britney Spears is miserable because she doesn't even know what to turn to. I bet you the kids feel awful because they don't have a relationship with her mom. I bet you the dad feels bad because the kids don't even know the mom. I bet you Britney's parents feel awful because they've lost their daughter to all this toxic stuff. Just nasty for everybody, isn't it?
Yep.
Ugh. Wish there was a better ending, but that's it. Britney Spears is in trouble. If you pray for her, I guess. Right, Bennett?
That's right.
That's right. All right. Be back with GP's Carryout.
Nate Bargatze, the Be Funny Tour.
I mean, Chuck E. Cheese is rough. I don't know if you've been there in a while. They look like they're trying to go to business and they can't.
All new material.
They filed for bankruptcy and they're still open. They called Blockbuster and they're like, how do you get out? We want out.
Nate Bargatze, Friday, May 31st, FedEx Forum. Tickets available at FedEx Forum Box Office or Ticketmaster.com. Produced by Outback Presents Nate Bargatze, the Be Funny Tour.
10 feet ahead of you, catch me is something you'll never do. I turn around and I level you, no motivation is needed. Look, I put myself on the pedestal, this is incredible.
Take your fandom to the next level with the official Grizzlies app. Go all access and behind the scenes.
It's got to be heavy defense. That's where it starts for us.
Personalized to where you are and who you are. Get easy access to ticketing, the game day guide, and your own app customization right at your fingertips. Upgrade your experience and download the Grizzlies app today.
Now for a limited time, the new $1.99 crispy tender wraps are here at Sonic. Who could deny a crispy chicken tender with bold flavors like hickory barbecue and cheesy Baja? And we can't forget the crisp lettuce and melty cheese to make the perfect bite. Wrap yourself up with some TLC, tender, love, and chicken for only $1.99. Sonic $1.99 crispy tender wraps. Tax not included, limited time only at participating Sonic drive-ins.
Grizzlies fans know it's the team that gives you the edge. Big River Steel does too. And much like the Grizzlies have recruited legendary talent, we want you to be part of our team. Are you ready to be part of something legendary? Then visit www.bigriversteel.com. That's www.bigriversteel.com.
Heart Royal Flush Tour 2024. November 14th, FedEx Forum. A journey through the hits and timeless classics. The iconic band returns with special guests. Jason Bonham's Led Zeppelin Evening. Tickets on sale now at heart-music.com. Heart with Jason Bonham's Led Zeppelin Evening. Produced by AEG Presents.
Let's face it, there's a lot of trash talk in basketball, but the great teams let their performance do the talking. Like Ford F-150 with Pro Power on board, a class-exclusive industry-first feature that turns your truck into a mobile generator and leaves the competition speechless. Ford F-150, official truck of the Grizzlies. Greatness starts here at your Mid-South Ford dealer. Class is full-size pickups under 8,500 pounds, GVWR.
Recruiting news from the morning. 5-star forward Jaden Quaintance, who was set to visit the University of Memphis this past weekend until he decided to visit Arizona State. Instead, he's now off the board, committed. He's a Sun Devil, Bennett.
Yeah.
We hardly knew him.
I mean, dude, you knew that. When Arizona State came out of nowhere, it was like, okay, that's where he's going.
Apparently, Arizona State is working with a streaming company to have a documentary connected to this upcoming season. And that, provides some NIL opportunities. And it's just a money deal. It is what it is.
For sure.
We talked about it last week.
And he made it clear. It was pretty clear that they were going to take the most money. Right.
Even though the dad said that wasn't necessarily true. And I'm not even here to
No, but
I guess when the question is, I try to put myself in the father's shoes because it's very easy. Like if I wanted to right now, I'd just be like, and his father just last week told the commercial appeal, oh, no, this isn't going to be about NIL money. That's not the determining factor. Oh, yes, it is, you liar. But what do you say if you are the dad and a reporter asks you?
Don't get it twisted, dude. If I was in his same situation, I'm probably saying, let's go take the most money.
So I always
We've been set for a long time.
Well, I always try to, I understand the mindset. That is most people's mindset, by the way, not just basketball players. It's just most people's mindset. So I always try to think about, all right, clearly the dad didn't tell the truth to Jason Munns when he said NIL will not be the determining factor. But in fairness to the father, if a reporter you barely know is asking you that question, how do you answer it? Hey,
I think that's how you answer it.
Hey, maybe if you want to be a little less dishonest, you could say,
oh, there's a lot of factors.
You could say, hey, listen, it's 2024 and there's a lot of money out there being thrown around. And, I don't know if that would be the determining factor if we're really just going to go where the most money is available. But it would be financially reckless for us not to be very aware of everything that is out there for us potentially, and we're going to explore all options, and then we'll just do what everybody else does, which is make the best decision we can make for our family when it's time to make that decision, taking in account a lot of different things. And maybe that's just a long-winded way of saying the same thing, but you don't get the quote of NIL will not be the determining factor. Oh, yes, it will, because that's what it was. Simply put, you don't go from being committed to Kentucky to maybe considering Louisville to then ultimately it looks like picking between Memphis and Arizona State. I mean, you're looking at Kentucky or Louisville, two big brands from two power conferences, and then you're looking elsewhere at Memphis from the AAC with a coach who needs a great year, or else that could be it. Or Bobby Hurley in Arizona State, another coach who needs a great year, or that may be it. Come on. It is. It's a money thing, but that's fine. That's, again, like you said, and I don't disagree. Perhaps there's an argument that it should be a money thing, but that's what it is. Yeah. If you want to know why Memphis missed out on a 5-star recruit, it seems very clear at this point that Arizona State was willing to offer more money than Memphis was willing to offer. And so now Jaden Quaintance will be a Sun Devil instead of a Tiger. We'll wish him luck.
Yep.
We'll wish him luck. Let's do GP's carryout.
It's time for GP's Carryout. One final segment filled with stuff to take with you. It's not everything you need to know, but it's most of it. What did we learn today?
A whole bunch of stuff, but we mostly focused in the first hour on the NBA playoffs. We're now 9 full days into the 2024 playoffs. Only one team has advanced so far. That's your Minnesota Timberwolves. We could have 2 more teams advancing tonight. And I guess the big story at this moment is the emergence of Anthony Edwards as maybe not the face of the NBA, but you would agree with this. He's been the face of the playoffs so far.
Oh, without question.
Not even close.
Yep, without question.
Not even close. And talk to Michael Eaves about it. He checks all the boxes.
Yep.
He's a killer. He's a scorer. He's an athlete. He can make a jumper on you, the pull-up stuff. He can get all the way to the rim, punch it on you. the people have been making the Michael Jordan is his father jokes for a while now because you mesh the faces together, you can kind of see it.
Yeah.
But then that dunk last night,
crazy.
We showed it to you earlier. You put it side by side, and it's the same everything. Two people, roughly the same height, similar builds, going the same direction against the same team, dunking it in the same way. So that'll only intensify these comparisons, and now they're going to be off a little while, waiting for their next opponent.
Right.
So this whole Anthony Edwards thing is going to. I'll be honest with you, like I was, doing baseball stuff, kid baseball stuff all weekend. Finally got home late last night, and I was like, all right, this series is over. And I think maybe I'm a decent example of this. How many other people did this last night? Minnesota already up 3-0. Felt like the series was over. But I'm going to turn this on anyway, just because we might really be watching a moment, a passing of the guard, out with the old, in with the new type of thing. And that's what, on some level, that felt like last night.
I completely agree.
So I wanted to watch it just because I wanted to watch that in real time. I didn't know what was coming. I didn't know we were going to get a 40-point game, the big dunk, the incredible post-game stuff, all of it. But I recognized, even though this series is over, even before somebody's won 4 games, it's clear Minnesota's advancing and Phoenix is not, I still am interested in this game because of the Anthony Edwards component. So wherever this thing goes, like his next game will be a big deal.
Yep.
And the game after that will be a big deal. And it'll be, the Timberwolves have become one of the big stories in these playoffs. And Anthony Edwards is the biggest reason why.
What's today's biggest game?
I'm going to take you to 9 o'clock on TNT. It's Lakers Nuggets.
I thought you might.
Lakers Nuggets series. Denver's up 3-1. Closeout game inside Ball Arena tonight. Denver 7.5 point favorite. Total is 216.5. Your record right now is 106, 116, and 4. You're now negative 22.6 units.
I didn't win Friday.
Let me look.
What was Friday?
I thought I updated. You had.
It was clearly a playoff game, right?
Yeah. I think you had Clippers, Mavericks, and you took Clippers. You wanted to believe in the Clippers, and that was a mistake for you. I think I updated. I think you wanted to believe in the Clippers. I'll double check.
I had to pull the tape on that one.
I
would never root for the Clippers. I would never believe in them. That does not sound like me.
All right, Bennett, it's not your responsibility to pull the tape. It's my responsibility to keep up with this stuff.
Okay.
And if I've let you down, I apologize for that. I will check the tape. I will confirm where we're at.
Okay.
I'll update if we need to update.
Okay.
But where I think we're at right now is negative 22.6 units. But if we're not,
all right,
I'll adjust and publicly apologize tomorrow.
Okay.
I'm not too big of a man to admit when I'm wrong and publicly apologize.
Same. If I'm wrong here, then I'm wrong. Me picking the Clippers, that doesn't sound.
You know yourself.
Yeah.
That doesn't sound like you.
That doesn't sound like me.
All right, I agree. We'll see. I'll check the tape.
Okay.
What are we gonna do tonight, though? How you gonna act?
Okay, this is one of those where they say, you don't ever bet with your heart.
Yeah. What are you gonna do with your heart? What you gonna do with your heart tonight?
I think.
You gonna put your heart on display tonight on a Monday?
There's no way the Lakers are just gonna get blown out.
What do you mean? There's no way? Oh, I can think of about 50 ways they get blown out.
Are they done? Are they done with this? That's the thing. Are they done with this, or is there still belief that they can get back in this series?
That will be determined right in the middle of this game. There'll be a moment where they'll either look like, okay, they're in it and they're going for it, or you'll go, all right, they know they're done. The question you just asked, question you just asked will be decided in the middle of the game. Right now, I promise you, they don't think they're done, because here's what people do. Here's what people do.
Yeah.
You go, all right, we just beat these guys. We got it figured out.
Yeah.
We almost beat them there. All right. Okay, we're under, but let's go win this one. Then we're coming back home.
Yeah.
It's easy to talk yourself into it, but it's much harder when you're down 17-7.
Yeah, because the problem with this, to me, if the Lakers lose tonight and this series is over, I think they're going to get beat by 25. I think it's going to be, just an insane beating.
They could win by 2 or lose by 20.
That's where I'm at. And so do I think that they're going to win and get back in this series? I'll take an L for my king. I'll take an L for my king. I don't give a damn.
Bennett, that makes my heart.
Get the bobble.
That makes my heart warm. That makes my heart warm. Not everybody is this loyal.
I'll take an L for you.
Not everybody is this loyal to a king.
I'll take an L for you, king.
People, it's times like these when you find out who really believes in kings and who doesn't. It's times like these when people start to question their kings.
Yep.
But you're not going to.
No.
You're going to ride or die with your king.
I'm going to ride or die.
I appreciate that. That makes my heart warm.
Yeah, I'm going to ride or die.
We need more people like you who will ride and die with kings. People come and go with kings sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, things are going well. I love my king. Things aren't going so well. He ain't really a king. That's not the world I want to live in.
That's not the world I want to live in.
Kings are kings. You either respect kings or you don't.
I always grew up being told to respect kings.
Respect kings.
Yeah.
Whether it's
one of the
LeBron
first things
James,
I was taught. Yeah.
One of the first things I was taught.
Yep.
Elvis Presley.
Right.
LeBron James.
Jerry Lawler.
Joe Jackson.
Yep.
You know?
Respect kings.
Yo Gotti.
Yep.
You respect kings. This ain't the easiest time to be a king at 39 years old with a terrible supporting cast.
Mm-hmm.
That's not a great time to be a king.
No.
No king ever thinks they're going to find themselves 39, bald spot,
right.
Terrible supporting cast. You don't think when things are going well.
You don't think that.
When things are going well and you're a king, you don't think, one day I'll be 39, bald.
Mm-hmm. You don't think that.
With a terrible supporting cast. No king ever thinks he's going to be in this spot. And that's, what happens? That's when people start falling off. They start questioning the king and his credentials. They go, hey, that guy's not a king. Not really a king. I appreciate you standing by your king.
Yeah.
Good.
My prediction is Nuggets by 1 million.
Yeah,
but my official stance tonight is Lakers plus 7.5.
Probably going to get his crown beat in tonight, if we're being honest.
Yeah.
Probably going to get his crown beat in. But I like that you're going to stand by your king. Through sickness and health, Bennett. Through sickness and health. You'd have been a good husband to that king. Through sickness and health. Good times and bad. Anything else you want to throw into your vows with your...
No. Just let's do this. I also want to I'm staying up to watch this freaking game. I want to at least be interested. Although I might want to go to bed early too, so there's that. It should work out either way.
Yeah, it's gonna work out either way.
Yeah.
It'll work out fine. Bennett says take your king tonight plus 7.5.
What are we watching on TV?
SmackDown. No,
Raw.
Raw. Hey, it's night 2 of the WWE Draft.
Yeah.
What do you think about night 1 of the draft?
Boring.
It really is.
It was really boring. I was super disappointed. I mean, I'm just gonna call it like it is. I
like drafts, but I don't like the WWE draft.
No,
it's boring.
they did not do a good job. I was not happy.
They need to call in somebody and say, teach us how to do a draft better.
Yeah, call ESPN. They do both drafts. They have a lot of experience in this.
They don't know how to do the draft.
They don't know how to do draft coverage
They
at
do
all.
everything else really well. They do not, drafts are, people love drafts.
Mm-hmm.
People love fantasy football drafts, NBA drafts, NFL drafts. And yet, is it WWE draft? WWE is big.
Yep.
Drafts are big. How is the WWE draft not big?
I don't understand it.
It's a missed opportunity.
It's a huge missed opportunity. And tonight's bigger. There's more picks tonight than there was on SmackDown on Friday. There's more rounds. Yeah.
Roman Reigns took himself out of consideration. He removed himself from the draft.
I saw that.
What do you think of that?
He's filming a movie. He's got to see how this whole thing shakes out before he makes a decision. He's bigger than the draft.
I'm scared, Bennett. If I'm being honest, I'm scared. I enjoy wrestling.
I do too.
I like having a live television show to watch on Mondays and Fridays.
Yep.
Put it on my kids.
Yeah.
I just like having hey, there's something live on TV tonight that I'm interested in. I'm scared that I'm going to lose interest.
Mm-hmm.
No tribal chief. I'm scared I'm going to lose interest.
I'm a little scared myself.
No tribal chief, no Rhea Ripley.
I'm a little scared myself.
I'm starting to wonder a little bit.
And I'm coming off the NFL draft, so you're trying to live up to that. How are you going to beat that draft?
Tough. In all seriousness, I know we're goofing around, but it's actually crazy. People love WWE and people love drafts, but you can't make the WWE draft awesome. They think it's crazy.
Why is that?
First off, I don't know. That's my answer. I don't know. But sometimes I watch what they're doing sometimes, and this is a crazy thing to say because it's a bazillion-dollar industry. They know what they're doing. But sometimes I look at it and I go, I don't know if they know what they're doing.
Just don't look like a draft.
It doesn't look like a draft. It doesn't feel like a draft.
Right. Like, where's the
let's do a whole
like the
thing.
little, the little jingle.
And let's like bring out, they're just bringing out random people. And I know the NFL draft gets to that over the weekend, but like, can't you just give me, like Triple H comes out and in a very formal, like professional setting and with the first pick, not just like, hey, and here's the other problem with it. I think here's the main problem with it. It doesn't make any sense. Like the first pick in the NFL draft makes sense. It's like, who? Okay, we just went through this. Thursday night. Who's going to be the first pick in the NFL draft? It's Caleb Williams. Okay, why is he the first pick in the draft? Well, because people think he's the best player. And he's the one, like, if you could have one person to build a franchise around in this whole thing, people think that's the guy.
No, in all seriousness, the first pick was Bianca Belair, and it's like, dude, Bianca Belair is great. You just buried her on WrestleMania.
Okay.
Like, why is she the number one pick if
I
you
think
just,
this is the real problem.
buried her?
Here's the real problem. It doesn't even make any sense.
Right.
The real problem with the WWE draft is it makes no sense.
No, I agree.
Who's the number one pick? It'd be like if they said, imagine this. Roger Goodell comes out the other night and he says, welcome to Detroit. This is an amazing night. Look, there's Eminem. Mm-hmm. And Chicago Bears are now on the clock. And it was like, all right, this is going to be interesting. I wonder, this is going to be wild. And they said, and with the first pick in the 2024 NBA draft, the Chicago Bears select Drake May. You'd be like, whoa.
Well,
that doesn't really make any sense. That's not what anybody said was going to happen. Is he really the best? And then immediately after that, you ready for this? They had all the analysts and they said, oh no, Drake May's not the best quarterback in this draft. And you ready for this? The Bears don't even think he's the best quarterback in the draft. They just took him anyway for reasons that don't really make sense. You'd be like, what? Isn't that the same thing WWE does? Does anybody think Bianca Belair is really the biggest thing that you could draft number one overall in wrestling?
I could argue she should be, but I'd get back to they just like buried her and like she was in a opening card at WrestleMania. Yeah.
We love her.
We love her.
She's not that. She should not be the number one pick in anything ever. Okay? Can we agree with that?
Damn.
I mean, you would agree with that, right?
I guess.
I mean, if we're trying to build, this is what we're really trying to do. If you take it we're drafting. You ready for this? This is so stupid.
I know. I can't believe you're breaking.
I can't believe I've spent this much time doing this. This is so dumb. I apologize. But now I'm caught up in it. Now I'm just caught up in the argument of it.
It's like we're talking about the NFL draft.
Now I'm caught up in the argument of it, of how stupid it is.
It's a fake draft.
But I'm trying to explain to you why it doesn't work. Because it doesn't feel like a real draft. Because it feels like a fake one. Just like NFL franchise, and then I swear to God we're moving on.
Yeah, get off of
this. I'm actually embarrassed that we're talking about this.
I feel ashamed.
I feel ashamed.
Because we're literally like getting really into this conversation. Like the wheels are spinning in my head. Like, wait, this is stupid.
Like I'm really bothered by this. Like I give a shit one way or the other.
I might not even watch.
I don't even care. Okay? I don't even care. They can be on any TV show. It doesn't matter to me.
Jesus.
But here's the thing. If you think about it, if you try to take it seriously, which is what I'm trying to do, maybe this is my fault.
Yes.
Maybe this is my fault that I'm trying to take a wrestling draft seriously. Maybe the joke's on me.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But here's the problem. If we are taking it seriously, we know when these NFL draft franchises select people, they are actually trying to do what's best for their franchise, except for the Atlanta Falcons. They're the only ones.
That's correct, yes.
The Atlanta Falcons don't try to do it. They don't care about their franchise. But everybody else is trying to do what's best for their franchise. The Falcons aren't, but everybody else is. When you take Bianca Belair number one overall, are you really doing what's best for your TV show? I would say no. That's the real problem.
I'm glad you put a bow on it.
I'm so embarrassed.
Yeah, I'm so embarrassed.
I can't believe in this same show I made fun of adults for wearing jerseys, and then I spent 7 minutes complaining about the validity of the WWE draft.
Oh man!
You know what? I'm the idiot.
Yeah,
all right.
Yeah.
You know what? I should put on a jersey.
You should.
I should put on a jersey.
Yeah, you
if I'm going to keep talking like this, I should just wear jerseys every day.
Damn.
I apologize. This should all be beneath me, but it's not for some reason.
What's the best thing we've read?
Top 25 and 1 has updated this morning, version 15.0. Kansas still number 1. North Carolina up to number 3. They've added a shooter from Belmont. If you care about that, you can read it at cbssports.com.
What's on tap for tomorrow?
Well, let's wait and see how night 2 of the WWE Draft goes. Then we'll see what's on tap for tomorrow. Let's see how they screw this thing up tonight.
Let's open on it.
Can you believe what SmackDown did at number 1?
Oh, I can't.
Here's the other problem. You ready for this? They say round 1 of the WWE Draft.
Yeah.
It's 4 picks between 2 entities. That's 2 rounds.
That's insane.
That's 2 rounds inside of round 1.
I don't understand.
I don't understand what you're doing.
Why are they doing it like this?
Why do they do it like this?
Yeah.
They say, and with the first pick in round 1 of the WWE Draft, and they pick it, they go with the second pick of round 1.
Can somebody get Mel Kiper on the phone?
And then they go back, to Raw, and they say with the third pick in round 1, it's like you get 2 first. Everybody gets 2 first round picks.
I don't understand.
Why wouldn't we just call that the second round pick? Why wouldn't your second first round pick actually be your second pick overall, your first in the second round?
I don't get it.
I don't get
we
it.
need to get ESPN. We need to get WWE in touch with like Mel Kiper, Jonathan Gavoni.
There's got to be a better way to do
like
this.
draft people that live this life.
There's got to be a better way to
figure this shit out.
They don't even have the rounds figured out.
No.
They're trying to fit 7 picks. They're trying to give each side 2 first round picks. That's not the way it works.
Because I'm fed up.
I'm fed up.
I'm sick.
I've had
of
enough.
it.
I'm not gonna keep doing this.
No.
I'm not gonna keep doing this.
Yeah.
All right. I gotta go.
All right.
What's on tap for tomorrow?
Trying to increase my water intake.
Good.
They say it's better for my skin.
Yep. That's what they say. That's what they say.
And my bones.
Yep. That's what they say.
Tomorrow's Tuesday.
Yes.
Oh, that's Chris Vernon.
He'll be here.
Yeah, we'll see.
Why do I even say that?
You don't know. You don't know.
idea.
You don't know. He may or may not be on the show. May or may not be in studio. We'll see. It's a surprise. It's what makes
Every
it
week.
fun.
Mhm.
It's what makes it fun. That's what makes it the most fun, is that we don't actually know until it's time to do it. That's what makes it the most fun. I can't wait for tomorrow.
Me either.
Fired up. My back feels so good.
Good.
I'm going to go lay down. It's so gloomy outside. I just want to lay down. Enjoy the rest of your day. I'm going to enjoy mine. We'll meet back here tomorrow at 10. Till then, be careful, be kind, be good. Rep your hood.